Hi Taurus, welcome to your November reading. Some of you are a little confused by the eclipse reading that's up. That's for the end of October. Now let's talk about November. And let's talk about what happens on November 8th with this eclipse coming up in your sign in conjunction with Uranus, also in your sign. So, take a deep breath and let's go. Self-love is a big theme in November, whether the self-love is growing, whether something is making you question it, or whether you're in a relationship, situationship, whatever, that triggers some wound relating to self-love and abandonment that you should look at. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just very revelatory. To the point where it can be difficult to keep your balance. You can go from being really excitable to very needy, back to feeling like you don't need anybody, hyper independent, then feeling lonely and needy again. Anyone you're in love with or used to be in love with can easily come to the conclusion right now that you are going through it. Whether you're being obvious about it or not, it's there. And whether the betrayal you're feeling is from someone who has been dishonest, or the betrayal you're feeling is because these wounds are being triggered and it's making you think about your upbringing, it's making you think about the people that you have until now, most of you, held in a very positive light. It's hard to see the reality of what has made us who we are without feeling this enormous weight of blame that you want to put on somebody, especially if you've had a tumultuous relationship with the mother figure in your life. The truths that are handed over to you at the eclipse, they are not things that you want to hold on to and concentrate in the body. You want to deal with them, right? See them for what they are. And then do not, look at this, do not hold on to them. And how do we not hold on to them? How do we get whatever comes up, whatever you know, that moment where it just knocks the air out of you and you're like, oh, geez, that realization really hurt. Then it's in your body. So what do you do with it? The easiest way to move this information now and move this energy is to move your body. As you work your body out, as you move your physical body, as you get this fixed earth material body going, your mind will start to move as well and it will start to flow. Anything that you can do that will get you more in the flow, more in the cadence, more in the dance, like we discussed in the last video, go ahead and do that. Now, I know you're looking at this 10 of Swords and going, okay, address this. If it's false, it's probably already over. It probably ended a couple of weeks ago with some big realization. But if it's still going and it's false in November, it's very hard to hold on to it. Why? We'll get to that in a second. But around the 16th, things just boil over. It may seem like the worst of times, but it's ironically followed by the best of times. It may seem like the worst time to meet somebody new. Ironically, it can be the best time to meet somebody new or even get into something way more committed than what you're already in. There is a revolving theme with Taurus for the past few years, and I think it has everything to do with Uranus, where this chaos creates something very meaningful, something very lovely. So the chaos of Venus and Scorpio can bring you a dream relationship, a dream work connection, a dream idea, that just completely revitalizes you and gets you going. I know for myself, one of the things that really has this effect on me is getting a new idea for my writing, right? It just completely revitalizes you when you're inspired by something and you feel, inspired, even the word, right? Coming from this idea of being filled with the Spirit or being divinely connected, right? So you have this inspired moment amidst the chaos. So on the 16th, you're like, okay, everything's just falling apart. And then right after that, you start to feel better. And you're like, actually, I feel great. Actually, I feel like I look great. Actually, this staying in the flow that seemed so difficult 2 weeks ago, is quite easy now. Okay. So once you get there, what you realize is that the eclipse, what it's done, about 10 days out from the eclipse, what you realize is that what it's done is it's given you a completely different perspective on your life. This eclipse shines a light on your life in a way that makes it look vastly different than what you thought it was. So, I didn't realize that okay, well, this is your eclipse reading. So I guess we're okay. I can try moving this. This is not okay. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So once you see things in a different light, it's not just a different light. Okay. Let me be clear. It's more than it being a different light. I want to turn that other lamp on. Speaking of different light, excuse me. I didn't realize there's that bar across the cards. Okay. So when you start to see your world, your life in this new light, things get really gorgeous. I don't know how else to say it. Because there's no hurt feelings, there's no sensitivities around any subject. You see your life as it really is, and you're not being soft about it. You're not in your feelings about it. It's like, oh, this is the flaw? Cool. This is how we fix it. Oh, this is this is a deficiency? Cool. This is how this is how I embarrass myself. This is how I humiliate myself. This is what I physically want to fix. This is everything. You see it as it really is, and not the way you wish it was, not... sometimes we see something about ourselves that we don't like and we get so stressed out by it that we'll go and damage 10 other parts of our life. Or a lot of times what happens is that people will take it out on themselves in some other way, right? People pull their hair out, people pick their skin. They do all sorts of things to somehow dissipate whatever stress or tension they're feeling around something that they just don't know how to tackle or handle. Because they're afraid of the intensity of the truth of what they'll find out, right? But you are in this unique energy right now where you're like, I'm being told I can see it. I didn't ask to see things in a different light. I don't necessarily want this to happen. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but here we are and this is what's going on. And I see it. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. You see things as they are. And the best part about seeing things as they are and not holding on to them and actually using them to, make yourself better and win and get yourself completely out of all the bad habits, the stupid spending, the, spending, drinking, eating out of insecurity, out of fear, all of it. You're able to see what it is, why it is, and you're looking at everything from a very aesthetic point of view. So it's not just, oh, this is what I should fix, or this is what I could do differently. It's like, this is how it would be so much more gorgeous. This is how it would look so much more like what you want to be. And that's where I want to go with this. So in November, there is this huge push, okay, for you to start looking, feeling, talking, behaving, basically advertising yourself for the next chapter of your life, for it to come and find you, because you're already looking the part, dressing the part, feeling the part. So we're going to get into that. in the second part of the reading, which goes up on Patreon. I'm just going to keep going right now and put that up. And then mid-November reading for Taurus goes up on Patreon today as well. So we'll go straight into looking at what that Libra influence that was in your life a month ago, and how this eclipse is bringing whatever was going on in October back around. We're going to use that energy to infuse all these realizations and all these truths with this aesthetic sensibility. Okay, the whole point of November ends up being, by the end of November, you're like, it's about making sure that your image is on point. So here are the things we're going to talk about in the second part of the video. We're going to talk about, so I have a list here from 1 through 9. So we're going to talk about getting liquid. We're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about your emotions betraying you and feeling emotionally safe. And we're going to talk about being balanced and the 3 things not to do if you have any sort of negotiating or any sort of conflict to deal with right now. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in the extended, or in part 2 of this, however you want to look at it. And then the mid-November reading, which will end up going up on YouTube at the beginning of December. The mid-November reading, like every 2 weeks, I'm doing a reading for you guys on Patreon. That will also be up for you tonight. The link for that is below, and that segment of the reading will also be on Vimeo, because I know some of you really like that. Love you, love you.